Hey everyone, welcome to Comics with Bueller. As always, I'm Bueller. Today is episode 139 of the brand new Coffee and Comic Show. And as you can see, I'm not alone. I got my good friend Bob here with me. Bob, how you doing today?
Better than past weeks, you know.
Okay.
I'm raring to go. Comic Book Wars has been amazing.
Yeah.
And I want to get into this, man.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little sick.
Are you?
Yeah, there's a little tummy ache. Oh, feel bad for me, please.
No.
Actually, I'm feeling just fine, so I'm pretty excited. This is week 3, the final week of Comic Book Wars. It's been a battle so far. We'll get into that in a little bit, because we always start off with the coffee that we're drinking this morning. And our coffee is brought to you by Mocha Express, the official coffee shop of Comics with Bueller. What are you drinking today, buddy?
I'm having my mainstay cold brew with some sugar-free vanilla sweetener and...
Tasty.
It's tasty.
So wonderful.
It's wonderful.
Wonderful.
It's awesome.
Was there a line there today when you went there?
Actually, it was nobody in there today.
Nobody in there.
Nobody in there.
So if you're watching, they need some business.
Yeah.
They don't have the online thing.
When it's Saturday and it's raining, yeah, they do.
They do?
Yeah.
What do they have?
You can order through Uber Eats.
Oh, yeah, you got Uber Eats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how any of that stuff works.
Right on.
It's well above me. I don't know.
I've ordered from there a couple times when I didn't have any car and I couldn't come down.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You can always call me, buddy. I'm just right down the street. I've told you this before.
This is true.
If you don't have a car, you can't go. Just let me know, dude. I'm right down the street.
Probably not going to be calling you at 6 o'clock in the morning, though. But you know.
I'm up. I'm up all the time. Anyway, I'm having a Twix Frap. I asked for a Twix latte, but they said there's no such thing. It's just you just put the ingredients in there, so I don't know. Our buddy Maher is messing with us. But a Twix Frap is pretty good. I had one of these just the other day.
You said yesterday.
Yeah, and it was their special on the menu, so I gave it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Tastes like Twix.
All right.
Twix are for kids. I think that's Trix.
That is Trix.
Twix are the ones you snap, right?
Snap, that's right.
Okay, so you snap that. That's pretty good.
There you go.
There you go. Mocha Express. Go to Mocha Express. If you're in town, let us know. We'll meet you there. We'll buy you a cup of coffee and talk about comics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so let's just go ahead and get into it. We're doing our Comic Book Wars week number 3. Week number 3 is our top 10 books in our collection, our overall top 10 books. Week number 1 was our top 10 number ones. Week number 2 was our top 10 independent books. And I got to give my hats off to Bob, because last week he brought his A game. He cleaned my clock last week. He really, the scores were not favorable to me whatsoever. It was like 90% Bob and like 10% me. And
thank you for voting.
There you go. So, and everyone voted fantastic, just the way we wanted you guys to vote. You listed all 10 of them. You told us which rounds were won by each person. It was a lot easier for us to add up the points. But congratulations to Bob. I was just telling him that my number 1 book was the first published artwork of Rob Liefeld. I think 3 people out of like 100 picked that over his Ice Cream Man number 1.
Wow.
I don't know. Apparently, nobody likes Rob Liefeld.
I guess not.
I wonder why.
I love it.
Anyway, so congratulations to Bob. Right now, I'll tell you guys the score right now. Okay, I am sitting at 1,027 points. Mm-hmm. Bob is sitting at 1,076 points.
Wow.
So about 50 points in between us, and really, everyone is up can give up to 25 points. So when you think about it, we're only 2 votes apart.
Yeah.
2 people apart.
That's amazing.
So not bad.
Not bad at all.
But here we are. This is it.
All right.
This is our top 10 books in our collection.
You said our favorite book,
right?
The
all-time favorite books in our collection.
All right.
And like I said, the voting, this is round 10 through round 1. 10 being our 10th most popular book, our favorite book. Round 1 is our most favorite book or whatnot. We'll start off with number 10. Like I said, vote individually by the round. There's a template down in the pinned comments. It's the very first comment. You can copy and paste it and put it in your comments. And just fill it out. Bob, Bueller, 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 Bob, Bueller, Bueller, Bueller. Maybe one more for Bob. Every round is worth 2 points, and the person who wins the majority of the rounds gets an extra 5 points. That's where the 25 points come from. So, Bob, guess what? You're going to start off this week for round 10.
Sounds good. And this first book was something I never thought would ever happen in my lifetime as a comic book collector. Never thought that I would have a channel. Never thought that people would watch me, let alone being a part of comics history. And my good friend Bueller made it possible for this to happen. And so this does hold a special place in my heart. And this is Chess, number 1 from Second Sight Publishing. And the very special thing about this particular book is that this was the very first exclusive that I had the pleasure of being a part of, and I partnered with my good buddy Bueller in Second Sight Publishing. And there you go. If you look at the back, you see the logos: Comics with Bueller, Everything Comics, Second Sight Publishing, Chess #1. And this is, I mean, this makes it official. I'm a part of comics book history as a result of this particular book. And so this is something that I'll cherish for a very long time. And so there you have it. That is my number 10, my friend.
Not bad at all, man. You guys have seen that book before. It was on my thing last week. It's a great book. And the only difference between the two is I wanted Bob to sign my copy. And apparently it passed his mind there. It didn't come up. So that's okay. But you know what? Not a bad book whatsoever. We're going to go ahead and start. How's everyone doing today? This is my round 10 number 1 pick. And, you know, like Bob said, these are our favorite books in our collection.
Yeah.
If they do have value to them, it's just a plus to them. Some do, some don't. This one is actually one of my favorite Spider-Man books of all time, and one of my favorite covers of all time. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 33. This is the Steve Ditko, Stan Lee cover. I love this book.
Yeah.
If you guys remember, I actually have a big, huge poster of this cover that was custom made for me from a friend, Bob's World. It's like 6 feet by 4 feet. It's a classic book. I mean, this is my oldest Spider-Man book in my collection right now. This is the one I decided to keep because I just love the cover itself. And it's a classic cover. It's the one where he's underneath the thing and he's about to drown and, you know, his powers aren't working or whatnot. You know, they actually recreated this in the movies.
That's right.
And stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to keep this book. I would have to say, honestly, it is my favorite Spider-Man cover. Out of all the McFarlane covers, all that stuff, this one right here, just some classic old Amazing Spider-Man goodness right there. Steve Ditko, Stan Lee. You know what? I had to keep it. It wasn't in the auction, and that's the only one that really wasn't in the auction, to be honest.
Yeah.
And besides one other one, we'll get that a little bit later. But there you go, Amazing Spider-Man. This is issue number 33, a 12-cent goodness. There you go, the final chapter. Not bad at all. That is my number 10.
Awesome stuff, and I absolutely love that book. Really, when they had that inside of Spider-Man: Homecoming, when that scene came up and he's underneath the rubble and he has the tears and he's yelling out.
Yeah.
I was hit so hard because that is one of my favorite all-time covers as well, and it just took me back to when I was a kid. Yeah. So great number 10.
You know, I have the poster. I really don't know what to do with it. I've been trying to.
It's huge.
I know. I've been trying to think of ways that
maybe make that your ceiling inside of your van.
I thought about it. It came up, but I actually just finished the ceiling. It went a different route, but I want to figure out a way to keep it somewhere. Maybe Bob might want it or something. I don't know.
Who knows?
There you go. Anyway, all right, you're up with round 9.
Okay, and round number 9, this is one that my hat's been tipped on already because I brought this in week number 1. And, of course, really, at that time, this is the one that disqualified me.
Yeah.
But in my comic book collecting history, you know that in 2000, I sold my comic books collection. And one of the things that after that, I never thought that I'd be back into comics again. I loved all the MCU movies that were coming out because they were taking me back to my childhood. We were finally in a place where technology had caught up for them to be able to do comic book movies on screen the right way. And so the movie Logan came out, which I absolutely loved. It was one of the best of the Fox X-Men movies. And I kept hearing about the fact that the movie was nothing compared to what the comic book was. And so I dipped my toe back in for a minute and I read the Old Man Logan series. I'm just going to go ahead and put it up right here. And when I read this story, I was blown away. I thought to myself, if this is what comic books is now, I am missing out. And that is the book that got me back into collecting. That's the book that made me walk back into an LCS and go and start picking up some comic books. I wouldn't be here on this channel, have my own channel, or any of this other stuff if this book hadn't grabbed me and pulled me back in. And so that is a very special book in my heart. As a result, is the Old Man Logan series. Is the very series that brought me back into comics. So there's my number 9.
Awesome, man. It's nice that you have a place for that book now.
Yes.
Obviously, it got slipped in the first week and it didn't work.
Right.
But you were able to fit it in this the final week, so that's great. I know it was an important book to you, and now we got a chance to see it. And it counts.
And it counts.
So that's really good, right?
Right.
That's really good. All right, moving on to my round number 9. I'll take this one down. I don't want it to fall. This is a pretty important book in my collection. I believe this was a gift quite a while ago. But you know what? I'll just show it right away. I'll just kind of tip my hat. Incredible Hulk number 102. And why is this a significant issue? Okay, Incredible Hulk started off with 1 through 6. And then from 6, it went on to a different title, Tales to the Sun, or something like that. One of the Tales series. And it was a combination of Hulk and some other characters like Submariner or something like that. If you look on this issue, it says premiere issue, okay? So Hulk didn't come back around until this issue right here. So this is number 102 of the Incredible Hulk. So it goes 1 through 6, and then the Tales, and then 102 for the Incredible Hulk. And this would be considered the number 1 premiere issue of that series. This is a classic cover for Incredible Hulk. I love this cover. Like I said, this was a gift, and this one is it. From this one on, this is the constant series that went on for 600, 700 issues or whatever the legacy number would be now if they're still doing legacy numbers. But this is kind of considered to me like the number 1 because this one is obtainable. The other 1 through 6 are very spendy books and very hard to obtain. But this one you can still find out in the wild. It's still worth quite a bit of money, a few $100. But this one right here, the first premiere issue, how they quote it on the book, even though it's 102, I haven't really seen a lot of books that have number 102 that say premiere issue on the cover. So I think it's kind of cool that they did that on there. So this is my round number 9, Incredible Hulk number 102, the premiere, the restart up or reboot of Incredible Hulk right there. And just a few issues after this one was another pretty key issue. And we'll talk about that one later on in the show. So
very cool.
There you go. Not a bad looking book. And it's in pretty good shape. So I'm pretty happy about that book.
Very cool. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Again, some of this Silver Age action, man, I mean, you just can't go wrong with it. So awesome book, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. So this is round number 8. And so this is a book, again, very special to me. A couple of years ago, I went to Emerald City Comic Con. And I got to sit and talk with Chip Zdarsky for about an hour. Just hung out with him, talked with him about all things Daredevil. And so this is Daredevil number 1, signed by Chip Zdarsky. And this has more than just a number 1 issue for me. And this is why I didn't bring it on week 1, is the fact that I get to sit down and just have an amazing time with this guy. We talked all things Daredevil. We talked our love for the character. He talked to me about the future of some of the plans that he had going forward, and he did a self-portrait for me of Daredevil. And we just got to sit and cut it up and talk about our love for comics, and just a full hour of just goodness. And it made me appreciate who he was as a person, and the fact that he gave me that much time when there were other people that were he had to get back out, of course, to the line and stuff like that, and there were people waiting, but the fact that he gave me that much time it holds a very special place in my heart. And so I had to bring this one this week, because every time I look at it, it reminds me of that time that I got to spend with Chip Zdarsky. Nice. And so that's my number 8.
Awesome, man. Mm-hmm. Well, this should be a fun round because I have a similar story with my number 8 one. And this is a pretty nice book to have in your collection. Anyway, I'll just put it up. I'll take this one down. And so this is my round 8. This is Infinity Gauntlet number 1.
Ah, yes.
And this is kind of neat because it's kind of the same story. This is also autographed by Jim Starlin. Mm-hmm. And I've had multiple opportunities to talk to Jim Starlin and spend hours talking to him. I actually hosted this panel. He came on. He's been on the show like 3 times. He was on the show recently at the convention at Washington State SummerCon. He came on a couple times. We talked about quite a bit. But this one was when I first met him a few years back at Rose City Comic Con, and I interviewed him for the channel, and he did like a little 10-minute interview together. And I had this book with me. So this is the Infinity Gauntlet. We all know the book. This pretty much, I mean, if you watch Infinity Wars, the Avengers movies, this is what everything is based on.
Yep.
Right here. There's some major differences between these books and what you saw in the movies, like who came through Doctor Strange's roof or whatnot, which is pretty interesting to find out, and who exactly kills Thanos, which is pretty interesting as well. But you know what? This book is pretty popular. I'm very happy to have it in my collection. Infinity Gauntlet #1, autographed by Jim Starlin, the legendary Jim Starlin. This is, like I said, this is a tough round because they're both two creators that are both very well known.
Yeah.
Two similar stories, you know. But Infinity Gauntlet #1, we've all seen the movies. We've all spent hours watching these movies multiple times. And you know what? It was so neat to see him in Endgame. And because Jim Starlin has a cameo in Endgame. You know that?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. There's a little cameo when he's sitting around the table. It's like a support group
yeah.
with Captain America. And he's sitting there at the table. And a lot of people don't know who he is because a lot of people honestly think that Stan Lee created Thanos and stuff like that. I've heard that all the time. And but to see Jim Starlin now get the cameo similar to what Stan Lee normally gets in the Marvel movies, a lot of people might have missed it, but he is represented in that movie, and it's well deserved because he brought these characters to life. You know, that's the story to life, and then we got to watch it on the big screen. And the whole phase was based off of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my round number 8, Infinity Gauntlet #1, autographed by Jim Starlin. Really great guy, and looking forward to having him back on the show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He likes us.
He does, actually.
He actually likes us quite a bit. So thank you, Jim.
Awesome stuff. That was a great time that we had at Washington State SummerCon, hanging out with him and getting to talk with him, just to be able to talk with a lot of these different creators is just amazing. Awesome stuff. All right, so this would be my round 7, and so this book again has got a very special place for me. When I got back into comic collecting, like I said, I told you before, I had a bad taste in my mouth about all the comics that I used to have and what their value was now as compared to what they were. And there's no way I was going to be able to get a lot of those books back. And so when I first started collecting, I stayed predominantly with new titles coming off the shelf and stepping back into back issues. It took me a little while before I did that, and when I finally took the plunge and stepped in and bought my first back issue, this was the book that it was. And not only did I buy this particular book, but later on I went and sent it off and had it signed by George Perez. But it's Avengers #196, the first appearance of Taskmaster. Great book, one of those that is definitely very sought after in the wild, it came back a 9.2, and but again, this was the very first back issue that I stepped back in and bought, and again, another one of those issues that I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now in my comic collecting or with my channel or anything like that if it wasn't for me finally stepping back in. And so Avengers #196, signed by George Perez. And so this one definitely is my step back into collecting comics, especially the back issue stuff.
Oh,
and so there's my round 7.
All right, so that was round 7.
7.
Okay, so these are some good rounds, and I'm glad that we have some really good matchups with these books and what the story is behind them. So this is my round 7, and this is one of my all-time favorite books, and this is a book I'll never get rid of. This is Contest of Champions #1.
That's the one right there.
This is the one, and let me just get into this book. And you might want to grab that. I don't want it to fall on you. But let me just kind of get into this book and what. Obviously, Bob had a book that meant a lot to him. Let me tell you what this one meant to me. As a kid, I always saw advertisements in other comics for this book because I would always get my books at like a grocery store or something like that. And then in the books, they had advertisements for this one, Contest of Champions. And as a kid, I always looked at this one as like, what are they all looking at? It has literally every superhero on the cover at the time, and they're all looking at something. And the thing in my mind was, what are they looking at? Okay, I never found this book, and then my mom finally took me to Pegasus Books in Milwaukee, Oregon, which is I'm just right down the street from right now. And it was the first comic shop I ever went to, and now it's actually Dark Horse Comics owns that building or whatnot. But it's the very first comic shop I ever went to, and my mom took me there. Like I said, Pegasus Books. I remember it like it was yesterday. I walked in and I looked. It was just beautiful because there was walls of comic books, and sure enough, I saw this one sitting up on the wall. Very first comic shop. I spotted it right away. I was like, Mom, that's the one. That's the one I've always wanted. And so she saw it up there. She bought it for me. I can't remember what she paid. I think it was like $5, maybe a little bit less or whatnot. But this is the very first comic I ever bought at ever bought for me at a comic book shop. I've kept it all this time, all throughout all these years, and it's my favorite cover probably to date, just because it has all those characters on there. I mean, as a kid looking at this, having every single superhero on for Marvel on the cover, I was like, whoa, what is this? That looks awesome. I will be honest with you, this story is not that great. It was very disappointing. Mm-hmm. And even when I reread it as I'm older, it's still not that great, which is too bad. It's only a 3-issue. This is the Marvel's very first limited series that they did. Mm-hmm. And big event book, and this kind of led right into Secret Wars. This was kind of like the test run, yeah. Which is great. And you know what? I've had this book ever since that day we went to that comic book shop. My mom bought it for me, so thank you, Mom, for buying me my very first comic book at a comic book shop, and this was the one I wanted. I found it. It's in really good shape. Contest of Champions #1. This is really what started it, like you said. And it was just downhill from there, I guess, right? So that's my round 7. Contest of Champions #1. My very first comic I ever bought at a comic shop. I think I was 8 years old. Thank you, Mom. Thank you.
That is awesome. Yeah, I remember having the same effect when I saw the book on the shelves. I can't remember if it was a bookstore, if it was a newsstand, but it was kind of like a trade paperback form. It was called Marvel Origins, mm-hmm. and it had all the characters on it. Yeah. And I had just started collecting at the time, and I didn't know which characters were really my favorite yet. So I bought that book, yeah. and that's how I found out the origin of Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, and then Thor, and I'll never forget that. But the same thing, as soon as I saw all the characters on there, I wanted it.
Oh yeah,
it's good stuff.
It's all the characters
for sure.
All right, round 6.
Great round, my friend. Okay, so here's another book that holds a very special place in my heart. Getting back into comic book collecting, again, there's a certain event that had to happen in order for me to get to where I am now. And if this event wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't be here, right? And that's the sign off from my wife, because all of a sudden I'm spending money on comics,
Sure.
And so does she support me in my hobby, or does she not support me in my hobby? That was kind of like, what am I going to get here? And she's always supported me in just about everything I've ever done. But this was kind of different, right? Mm-hmm. And so this was kind of like the moment that I got from my wife, that she's telling me that she supports me. And this was, right? Because that's important, man.
She's telling me she supports me.
In my comic book collection.
I have the opposite with a wife.
Right?
She's telling me, get out of here.
Exactly. And because let's face it, I hear horror stories all the time about, my wife would get pissed at me if I bought that one. And I don't want to be like that, And so this is Daredevil number 612. This is I think it was 1 in 100. I believe it is. But anyway, it's the J. Scott Campbell variant. And she bought this for me for Christmas. This is the one that I had the problem with at the LCS, where the LCS actually... anyway, that's a whole other story. But so it holds a very dear place in my heart, because this was my wife saying, "I love you and I completely support you in what you do," and she still does. As much time as I spend with comic books and comic book collecting, being as busy a guy as I am, I couldn't do it without the support of my wife. And so this is a token of that from her towards me. Yeah. So there it is. That's my round 6.
Not bad. using the wife there.
I have to, man.
The wife round. Not bad. Okay, my round 6. So since I don't have a wife, I got to go with the next best thing.
All right.
A really good friend route.
Okay.
One of my best friends. And without the support of one of my best friends, this book isn't possible. And we're going to go with X-Men number 100.
Oh, man.
I don't, like I said, I don't have a wife. I've had one, and that was enough.
That was enough.
But anyway, this book right here, X-Men number 100, was a book I've been trying to get for a while. Just never showed up. And then I believe that me and Bob were doing an auction or something.
Auction, yeah.
And Bob had this book, and I thought he was selling it. And he said, no, this is your birthday present or something like that. And so my good buddy Bob gave me this book as a present for my birthday. It was probably about a year and a half ago or so.
Yeah.
And that confirmed to me that I had the support of Bob to keep collecting and stuff like that.
I love it.
So which felt pretty good. I knew I was going down the right path. But let me tell you a little bit about this book. Significance about this one, for one, it's the 100. But this is the fastball special. This is the first time that Colossus throws Wolverine, kind of the fastball special for an attack or whatnot. This book also, it shows the old team and the new team battling, but they're not really, it's like a robot team or whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's not really, it's a little misleading or whatever. I love it. It's a beautiful book. It's in great shape. It's a gift from Bob. I like the 100s. I wanted to at one time collect all 100s, and this was the ones I was missing. So Bob filled that hole for me. And he gave me the permission to collect comics, and that felt pretty good, you know. The same feeling his wife gave him, he gave. Well, that doesn't sound right
Sound right at all, bro.
Close enough. But anyway, this is my round 6 X-Men number 100 fastball special Wolverine. Goodness, beautiful cover. You know what? Thank you, Bob. Appreciate the wonderful gift, and pretty happy to have that on there. So
absolutely, that's awesome, man. And that is one of my favorite X-Men books. I love that cover. I love that book. And but it was absolutely my pleasure to give it to you.
Thank you,
at
sir.
the time. As soon as I heard that you didn't have it, I'm like, well, I have that.
Yeah, it was one of those few ones at the time that eluded me. And now, as you guys know, I sold quite a few of my X-Men. Actually, I sold all my X-Men, so I only have like 3 or 4 X-Men books still in my collection. They were gifts, so that's why they're with me. So That's one of them.
Awesome stuff. Well, that's what that's what we're into here, man. Special books, right?
Yeah, round 5.
Round 5. All right. So this one this one blows me away.
Okay.
Because recently you had given me a present, and that present had a lot of special meaning to me as well. Because I had been looking at that issue for a very long time. But as a result of talking about that issue, I had talked about getting it sent off to John Romita to have him sign it. And I also talked about another book that if I had it, I would send it as well.
Yeah.
And a viewer of the show sent me an AOK.
Nice.
About to get choked up because this is what blows me away about this community, is that people will, send you stuff like this. It's out of the kindness of their heart, and I love our community, man.
Presents.
And so this book came from a guy named Thomas, and it's Daredevil number 18. It's the first appearance of the Gladiator.
Nice.
And I was just so blown away that this guy would hear that I don't have it, and he took it out of his own personal collection and he sent it to me. God, I didn't think I was going to get emotional. And so, thank you, Thomas, for sending me something so special. Gosh, so special. Because this is the type of thing that makes me love what we have. I mean, I've met so many great people in this community. Probably even closer and better relationships than what I have in my church family. And that's saying something. And so, yeah, it holds us, you can see, it holds a special place in my heart. Gosh. And so thank you guys in this community for loving me and for supporting me the way that you have. And this is one of those things.
There you go.
So, gosh, man.
Look at that. Well, it almost makes me want to rethink my round 5 selection here pretty quick. All right, get back in the game here, Bob.
I wasn't thinking about...
That's awesome, man.
I didn't think I'd get that emotional.
That's all right. We're still here. That's pretty. Let me see it real quick. I didn't get a chance to see it. Oh wow, that's pretty nice.
It's a nice copy, man.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Congratulations.
So I will be sending that off to have John Romita sign it and get it slabbed. And,
all right.
So thank you, Thomas.
All right, man.
Sorry, bro.
This is gonna be a hard one for me to win this one over. I'm gonna do my best. Because this one is man, you just killed this book.
Sorry.
And this is a really important book to my collection. This is a really important book to my collection, and you just killed it with that. The waterworks are going to pay off this time around.
Oh, sorry, man.
Here we go. You ready? I'm going to do my best. Oh man, you're killing me. My round 5. Spider-Man number 1.
Oh man.
Oh, that's why you're killing me, dude. Bob had a great pick. Very, very important to him. So Spider-Man number 1, very important to me. Why is this very important to me? This is autographed by Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
This is the book that I've told my Todd McFarlane story many a times. Mm-hmm. I went to school with Todd McFarlane's wife. She was actually a teacher at my local high school. We found out that she was Tom McFarlane's wife. At the time, he was doing Amazing Spider-Man and stuff like that. And we kept on bugging her to see if Todd would come visit. And our school, there was only a handful of us. We bugged her, and finally she kind of said, yeah, I'll see what Todd will say. And Todd agreed to come to our school and kind of hang out with some of his fans after school one day. His fans consisted of about 4 to 6 people at the time, because it wasn't really... people like comics, but it was just a different time and stuff in that age group. It was just different. So anyway, 4 to 6 of us met Tom McFarlane after school in the auditorium, and we spent a couple hours with him. And just literally the day with Tom McFarlane showing us how to draw Spider-Man. And I can remember him saying, oh, here, draw 2 lines on a piece of paper. And so I draw 2 lines, and that's how he would fit Spider-Man in the body, using each connecting line as like a leg, an arm, and an arm. And it didn't matter how you drew the lines, because he would take Spider-Man and make them all different shapes. Anyway, this is one of the books I had him sign for me when I was there. This is another book that's been with me ever since it came out, ever since 1992, I believe it was.
It's amazing.
When it came in. And it's nice autograph right there in gold ink. Right on the very front. He came to our class a couple other times, our school a couple other times after that, which was fantastic and stuff. He actually signed a bunch of stuff for me, and I lost it. I actually had original artwork that he wrote on the ones that he told me to draw, the lines, and he did it, and he just gave it to me. I lost it. And other stuff that was autographed for him. This is the only one that survived, and I just made sure I didn't lose this at all. I've since talked to Tom McFarlane about that day. He remembers that day. He doesn't remember me personally, but he remembers going to the school and his wife working there, obviously, and stuff like that. This is the book. I would have to say that meeting Tom McFarlane to me was like meeting Stan Lee. Okay, they're 2 different legends, but to me, they're on the Mount Rushmore together. They're sitting next to each other, and I think that right now, as far as Todd McFarlane's career is going, he is the next Stan Lee. He is the one to take the mantle, and he's still got many, many years left. And when I think of my personal time alone with Todd McFarlane, talking about this book and having it autographed, it really solidified my love for comic books.
Yeah.
It really did. It was really like, this guy's taking his time. He goes off to do Spawn and all this stuff and create all this wonderful world and Millionaire and, you name it, movies and TV shows and, just action figures and all that stuff. This is all before that. This is all before that. This is Nike high tops with socks, and I'm pretty sure he had a mullet at the time and a jean jacket. I am not joking, guys.
He did.
And I loved it because I looked exactly the same. So there you go. That's my round 5, Spider-Man number 1. 2 great choices from both of us. Both things that mean a lot to us in different ways.
Yeah,
different ways. So anyway, there you go. You guys are have some work cut out for you.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, all right, that's my round 5. And I just want to take a minute before we move on. I want to say thank you to all our patrons of the channel. You know, it really does help us out. We didn't get any new patrons last week, which is fine, but if you want to join our Patreon, it's $3.99 a month at the price of 1 comic book a month. If you think we're worth 1 comic book a month, myself and Bob, go ahead and join our Patreon, because it does help us out, you know, and we got a lot of keep the wheels rolling and lights going, all that stuff, you know, there's a lot of, yeah, I'll just say that. So,
yeah.
Thank you to all our Patreon members. Like I said, if you want to join, please do. Definitely appreciate it. Okay, Bob.
There we go.
Round,
that's a tough round, and I've always loved the story of you getting together with McFarlane, and I know how much that meant to you. And so, you know, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
All right, round 4.
Round 4. And so round 4 is the book that spawned the last one.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go ahead and put it up.
All right.
And there we go. It's Iron Man number 7. And, you know, one of the things, you know, people know that I love the Daredevil character.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first got into Daredevil, it wasn't the actual character Daredevil. It was the cover of a comic book. And it was one of the John Romita covers of Gladiator coming at Daredevil full speed. And it was the kinetics, the energy of that cover. I was more interested in the villain on that cover than I was the actual comic book character, the hero. But that's how I got into the Daredevil comic book. And so Gladiator was actually my way in, you know, to become such a huge fan of Daredevil. And so, you know, the first appearance of Gladiator is the one that Thomas sent to me. But this particular book is one of the few books that you'll see Gladiator highlighted outside of Daredevil. I've never had this book. I've always wanted it. I'll never forget the day I walked in and and Bueller showed me this cover, which was sent to him by Steve Whiting.
Steve Whiting.
A very good friend of the show. And I'll never forget seeing it and being blown away by how great of a copy it is.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful copy. And so... You know, when Bueller talked about he had sold his Iron Man collection, except for number 1, my first question out of his mouth was, "Did you sell number 7?" And lo and behold, he didn't. He saved it for me to give it to me on my birthday, and so this one is never leaving my collection. I will also have this sent off so John Romita can sign it. But it is an amazing copy of Iron Man number 7, and from one of my best friends that I've ever had, my good buddy Bueller. This was a birthday present from him to me, and so that's my number 4.
Nice, not bad at all. I just want to say that was originally, like you said, a gift to me from Steve Whiting, and then I checked with Steve. I said, "Hey, Steve, I'd like to re-gift this to Bob. I know he's going to give it a good home and stuff like that. I don't want to sell it. I want to pass it on." And Steve was like, "Yeah, go for it." He was all for it. So I'm really happy to know it's going to go.
Absolutely.
You have it and stuff like that. So
I love it. Absolutely.
Thank you, Steve Whiting. Awesome.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. So I got my round 4 right here. And I just love this book. This is actually just a wonderful book in my collection. And I'll just show it right away. Iron Man and Submariner number 1. And I just love it. This is one of those books. 2 characters I really enjoy, Iron Man and Submariner. So you guys know, this predates Iron Man number 1, which was on my number 1 for my number 1, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
And it predates Submariner number 1. Mm-hmm. So this was like a one-shot that Marvel put out, and then later they put out Iron Man number 1, the regular series, and same thing with Submariner number 1 in the regular series. So this predates this. I can't remember. This is from... I thought I had a year written down on here, but I don't think I do. I don't have a year, but I mean, it's an older book. I mean, it's a 12 center, but I just really love that cover. And I believe this was a gift. I'm not 100% sure if it was. I think maybe I paid a little bit for it. I don't know for sure. But I just love this one. And this is another book I wanted to keep for my collection because this one gets passed by because it's a hard one to find.
Sure.
Because it is a one-shot. It's not connected to anything else. It's not like there's not number 2 or number 3 or anything else. When you look it up in the book, you have to look up, Iron Man Submariner or something like that. It's not connected to the Iron Man title or whatever. So it is kind of a tough one to find. But if you can find it in good shape, it's a beautiful book. This one is actually in pretty good shape, but somebody outlined Iron Man with a pen.
With a pen.
Yeah, but you can't really tell. I mean, you have to look, but you'll notice it. But I just love this book. It's been in my collection for a while. It's going to stay in my collection. Submariner Iron Man or Iron Man Submariner. I always get it reversed. Number 1, like I said, predates Iron Man number 1, the regular series, and predates Submariner number 1, the regular series. And so this one and Iron Man number 1 stayed in my collection. So there you go. That's my round number 4.
That's awesome. I dig that book. It's one of those that is it's awesome.
Yeah. You doing a little peek into there?
I did because oh my god.
You have the same book?
No, I don't.
I don't think we have any of the same books.
We don't. I guarantee that.
Okay. I guarantee that.
I mean, you got some that are coming up that I know that are going to be.
Really?
Yeah, I do. All right, so this one. Okay, you guys have heard me tell the story about how I started collecting Spawn again to connect with my son in comic books, and so we've collected quite a few of the books. And let's just be honest, I've been the one that's collecting.
That's usually how it goes, right?
He hasn't bought a single copy,
yeah.
And
Paige did not contribute to the Iron Man collection.
And he finally told me, he said, "Look, Dad," he said, "I just love going with you to the store and hanging out with you." And so that's our time. Whether we get the Spawn collection or not, that's particularly fun. But this particular book was given to me for Christmas by my son, and
nice.
So this is him going into a comic shop. And he probably paid too much for it. But I did send it off and have it slabbed. This is Spawn number 229. It's the homage to the Incredible Hulk annual that was done by Steranko. Mm-hmm. And I just absolutely love this cover. So Spawn 229, one of the homage covers. I'm just going to hold it up.
Yeah, hold it there.
And but it means a lot to me because my son went in and bought a comic book for me.
Yeah.
Again, when we go into a shop, he never buys anything. He never goes into the shop by himself, and he must have seen it on the wall, and thought, I got to get this for my dad. And I know he probably spent way too much for it. Yeah. But you know what? It's special to me because he's the one that sent it to me. And it's an amazing cover. It really is.
It is. I love it.
I love the homage covers. I got a bunch of them. This is the one that got me into collecting them again. And so Spawn 220, that's my number 4.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3. Nice round 3. I like that book. Moving on to my round 3. I don't know if any of my kids have ever bought me a comic book. They bought me like a Marvel encyclopedia. That's pretty cool.
Oh, there you go.
Big thick thing or whatnot. So, but I don't think they've ever bought me an actual comic book before. But you can.
You can.
Okay, so this is my round 3 right here. Mm-hmm. And this was actually a present from a dog. A dog sent this to me.
A dog?
A dog did. I believe that's what I've been told. But anyway, this is a pretty impressive book. And this is one of my grails in my collection. This is X-Men number 94.
Oh, gosh.
This is pretty much the first appearance of the... there's giant-sized X-Men. And then there's X-Men number 94. A lot of people think Chris Claremont wrote giant-sized X-Men. He actually didn't.
He didn't.
This is the first Chris Claremont of the new X-Men right there, number 94. For a long time, this was the book to get.
That was the book to get.
It's now reversed. Now Giant Size X-Men number 1 is the one to get.
Yeah.
Nothing against this book.
No.
Because this is still a grail. The reason why I say a dog gave it to me because Steven Spock sent this to me, and Spock is his dog, and he said that his dog chewed it up or whatnot. This is a well-loved book, and he goes, if you want it, you can have it. He goes, but it's well-loved. I go, I love stuff like that. I like stuff that has a story to it. It's a little messed up, and there's pieces of this missing on the front of the book, but I've always wanted X-Men number 94, and there's 4 grails like high dollar grails I wanted. X-Men 94, giant size X-Men number 1, which I've never gotten, Amazing Spider-Man 129, and Hulk 181. Those are the 4 grails I've always wanted. So this is one of them right there, and it's in my collection. It was a gift from Steven Spock. Like I said, this is the first of the new X-Men in the Uncanny X-Men, or in the X-Men series. And from there on, it just kind of goes. And what we know of X-Men today, this is where it started. Because all the way up until 93, it was reprints for the, what was it, 30 issues, like in the 60s? And then they reprinted like 60 through 93. The 94 was the brand new after Giant Size, and the stories just went on from there. This starts the legendary Chris Claremont run on the X-Men that he did for 20 years. Which is just, will never be duplicated for any title. And that's why I have so much respect for Chris Claremont. He's an interesting guy, very interesting to say the least, but for him to write a book for hundreds and hundreds of issues nonstop for years and years and years, it's just enormous. And this is it. This is where it all started. X-Men number 94. There you go. If you're a fan of X-Men today, this is where it starts.
That's awesome.
There you go. No, cat. The cat's trying to get up here. Get down. There you go. All right, so that's round 3.
Great. Well, that was that was your round 3.
Yes, 2 more to go.
Gosh, that was your round 3.
Go on, man.
That's an amazing book. Again, back in the day, being a collector, that was the book to get. It
was, and I don't know when it flipped, but it was recently.
I think when people started looking at the fact that Giant Size X-Men number 1 is the actual first appearance
of so many of the characters.
I mean, it's the first appearance of the X-Men in the series. 94 is, but the actual first appearance of the characters was Giant Size X-Men. And but because of the fact that it was a giant size, it wasn't really an annual. It was kind of a one shot. I think for whatever reason, way back there, it was looked down upon more than the 94, but it did. It made a flip, and now Giant Size X-Men is the number 1 to get. This one will still always hold a special place.
Exactly.
Right? I doubt I'll ever have it in my collection again. So absolutely amazing that you have that. And again, another beautiful gift from Steve Whiting.
No, this is Steven Spock.
Oh, Steven Spock. Okay.
Yeah, the dog.
Awesome stuff. I love it.
I have a picture of the dog somewhere.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
That's great. So, all right. So now we're into round 2.
Round 2.
All right. And hopefully I won't get emotional again.
Come on. You already played that card.
I'm not trying to play a card.
I'm just kidding, buddy.
But again, this is one Washington State SummerCon. I got to spend some time with the great Jerry Conway.
Sure.
And this book always will hold a special place in my heart. It's the reason why I love Dr. Doom so much. And it's Astonishing Tales number 8. And this is the issue that you find out that Doom every year, once a year, goes to the tallest tower in Latveria, and he ends up going to hell and fighting for the soul of his mother. And as you know, I lost my mother when I was 12. It was a very, very poignant time in my life, and this is one of the books that helped me connect with my feelings over that. When I took this book to Jerry Conway to have him sign it and tell him how much it meant to me, I was not expecting to get as emotional as I was. And I sat in front of the dude bawling like a baby, letting him know how much it meant to me. And he kind of gave me his history at the time of when he was writing it. He was poor, he was destitute. It was one of the very first books he ever wrote for Marvel, and he really didn't have a paycheck yet. He was living in an apartment he was by himself. Didn't have any food. It was one of the lowest times of his life, but he remembers the emotion that he put into this book. And and like I told him, it really resonated with me because it told me it was okay to have the feelings that I had about my mother. And now I would, never want to go to hell. I am so glad that my soul is saved. But I would have gone to hell to save my mother if that's where she had gone. I would have done anything to have her back. And that's what this book meant to me. And so to stand in front of Jerry Conway and to be able to tell him how much it meant to me, it was a moment that I'll never forget. And a moment that once I was done, I went back to our booth at the Comic-Con, and Bueller comes walking up, and I'm still crying. I couldn't stop. I mean, I didn't stop crying for the longest time. And that's what he says. There's no crying at Comic-Con.
That's what that was?
Yeah.
There's no crying at Comic-Con.
And but it was one of those moments with an absolute legend in the comic industry. And to see how much it touched him, my emotion, how much it touched him, was an awesome time.
There you go. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
The last one's going to kill me. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. This is my round 2. And, so anyway, I'll just put it up there. It's a Hulk 181.
Oh my gosh.
And, this is a book. Obviously, you guys are all familiar with this book. It's the first appearance of Wolverine. Whatever you want to call it. First appearance, first full appearance, whatever you guys, it doesn't matter. This right here was a book I've always wanted in my collection. Wolverine he flip-flops for my favorite character. Right now, he's like my second favorite character, but he's been my favorite in the past. It kind of goes back and forth. But I've always wanted this book. And you guys know I'm very cheap. And I don't like spending a lot of money on a comic book. So really, for me to get this book, it's out. If I didn't get lucky and find it in a dollar bin or some random thing, I'd never have this book in my collection. That being said, we talked about this gentleman earlier in the show. His name is Steve Whiting. Very good friend of the show, a very good friend of mine. I've had the chance to stay with him and meet his family a couple times. But before I ever met this gentleman in person, this guy said, "Hey man, I want to do something special for you." I'm like, "Okay, what's up?" He goes, "I want to buy you a Hulk 181." I'm like, "Shut up, dude." And he's like, "No, I'm being serious." He goes, I want to buy you a 181. I love the show. I like your personality. We talked a little bit and stuff like that. He goes, "I want to pay it forward. And I want to do something special for you." He goes, I think he said he just won he's gambling or won a little bit of extra money. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or whatnot. But he had a little bit of extra coin in his pocket, and he wanted to get a 181. So actually, we hunted around a little bit to try to find, because the 181 at the time for this copy is around a couple $1,000s. It's gone way up since then, but still, a couple $1,000s is a lot of money to spend on a comic book. He found one online, and before I knew it, he pulled the trigger. And it was on its way to me. And I honestly am like, okay, this is kind of weird, And, but, I just want to say, since then and before, me and Steve have become really good friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Steve Whiting is one of the most generous people you've ever can meet in the comic book community. Anyone who kind of is a YouTuber, kind of knows that name in the comments, will know who this gentleman is. Where his kind of roots in the comic book community kind of spawned was really with this book, and his generosity he showed to me. He's since gone on to gift so many other books to so many other people, and he's meant so much to a lot of people. As much as this book is important, I'm just going to talk about Steve a little bit, to be totally honest.
Yeah, you go for it, man.
And because this book speaks for itself. It is what it is. But seriously, the Steve Whiting, out of nowhere, this guy just is completely generous to a fault. And he just, I remember he was in an auction one time, and one guy was bidding on a book, and so was Steve. And Steve won the auction. It was like $100, and it was on one of my auctions. Steve emails me, and he says, "You know what? I just paid. Go ahead and give it to the other guy. Just give it to him." Steve doesn't know who the other guy is. I don't know who the other guy is. Steve's like, just give it to him. I want to pay it forward. And literally, the guy turns out to be local. And I meet him at a comic shop. I go, here. I go, this is a gift from Steve Whiting. He's like, who? I go, just a guy that's proud of our community. Just stuff like that. And just other things for Steve Whiting to do. I mean, if you do a little investigating, his generosity, this is just where it starts. And it doesn't end. He's given Bob, he's given everyone in the community just grail after grail after grail. I recently got to go down to Florida for MegaCon. So I stayed with Steve at his house. And one of the things we all chipped in to do was to buy him one of his grails that he won, which is the first appearance of Groot. And we all got to give him this copy of the first appearance of Groot. Very spendy book or whatnot. I think like 50 or 60 people chipped in to buy him this book. That's what he meant, or what he means to all these people. Everyone was more than happy to do it. And I got to be there while we all gave it to him and stuff like that. So anyway, I just want to say thank you to Steve Whiting for everything that he's done. I mean, this is just a small portion of what he's given to me, to be totally honest. But this is the major thing that the Hulk 181, a book I never thought I would have in my collection. And without him, it's not in my collection. Like I said, one of my 4 grails, and this is one of them. So there you go, Hulk 181. That's my number 2, round 2 for it. Then thank you, Steve Whiting.
Yeah.
It's all because of you, my friend.
It's an amazing book. It's an amazing gift.
Yep.
I really thought that was going to be your number 1, so now I'm really intrigued to see what your number 1 is.
Okay, yeah.
Very cool.
All right, round 1.
All right. Well, this book needs no introduction. I've shown it many times. Again, this is a very poignant time in my life when my mom passed away. And, I've given the testimony of what this book means to me on my channel in what I call my origin story, my comic book origin story. Yep. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it up. It's Avengers number 58. It's a 9.6. And more importantly, it's signed by Roy Thomas. This is the book that hooked me into comics. This is the book that made me realize that comic books was so much more than just these funny books that showed up on the newsstand every week. At the time, after my mom passed away, I kind of lost my family. They all kind of flittered away because of having differences with my father. And, being 12 years old is a time that I'm just trying to fit in, just trying to find my way, and don't have my family to kind of back me up inside of it. And so reading this book, this is the famous Even an Android Can Cry. Mm-hmm. And this was the moment where the Vision, after attacking the Avengers and then helping them out to take down Ultron, he's kind of his own thing. He's his own person, and he starts walking away because he's got nowhere to go. And the Avengers invite him in. And you have this inanimate robot who sheds a tear. And it was a moment of him, appreciating the fact that he has somewhere to fit in. And I realized that somebody out there knew what I was going through at the time. And so this is the book that made me a comic book collector. I wish I had my original copy. Yeah. I had my LCS guy pick me up the best copy he could find. It turned out to be a 9.6. But I was able to get this and take it to Washington State SummerCon, the first big one that they had. And I got to buy the VIP package to spend with Roy Thomas. And I got to sit with him, tell him how much this book meant to me. Again, he told me the history behind it. He said this was the very first book, or actually the only book he ever wrote where he had the ending in mind. Yeah. And but that was just a really cool time to spend with him. I got to shake his hand. I wanted to hug him, but it was kind of weird.
Kind of weird,
right? But this will be always be the most special book in my collection. The one that means the most to me. It's my Avengers 58, signed by Roy Thomas, and it will be the very book that got me into comic collecting. Without this book, I never would have collected comics. Nice. So there it is. That's my number 1.
There you go. This is the episode 139 of the Coffee and Comic Show. Even a Bob can cry.
Right.
This
Sorry,
is
man.
the homage to Even a Robot Can Cry. Not bad at all, my friend. Not
There we
bad at all. Okay. All right. So this is my round one. And so this is my favorite character. And this is Amazing Spider-Man number 129. This is one of those books where I look at it, I said, okay, check off all the special things about this list. We'll check it off. Grail book, okay? First appearance of Punisher, my favorite character. Check. Second thing is it's autographed by Jerry Conway, the creator of the Punisher, which is a gentleman I have a lot of respect for. A lot of respect for his views on the Punisher himself, the characters he created. I've had Jerry on the show a couple times. Just a wonderful gentleman. He signed this for me, so it makes it even more special to have those moments with him. Very similar to the moments you talked about and stuff with the same gentleman. So check that off as well. The third thing was, this was a gift. And this was a gift from a family member. You talked about your son buying you a book. Like I said, I still haven't had my kids buy me a book. But my nephew, the gentleman who you helped me perform the wedding ceremony for, Grant and his wife, Sarah, they actually bought me this book. Just kind of out. I think it was they were buttering me up for the wedding or whatnot, so, to be totally honest. But how this book came into my possession is I went to go do a little bit of house sitting for them, and he called me up. He said, "Hey, there's a bag on the counter." He goes, "Can you check in that bag real quick?" So sure enough, I go on the counter and there's a paper bag, and just a little part of the bottom of the book is sticking out of the bag, and I could tell what it was right then. I was like, "What is that?" He's like, "Just open it." I go, "Oh, no." He's like, "No, just open it." I go, "I already know what it is." And literally just the bottom part, I pulled up, sure enough, it's a copy of 129.
Yeah. Amazing
Spider-Man, first appearance of the Punisher, my favorite. Obviously, it wasn't autographed at that point. It's just a great book. They went in, they knew it was my favorite character. They went down, they hunted it down at a local comic shop that had it there and bought it. Because this is another book, honestly, it's a personal grail. It's one I've always wanted. If I didn't find it for like a obscene low price, I would never buy it because I would never spend, $5,000-$6,000 on a book. It's just not something I do. So this was a gift, and it has all those boxes checked off. It has the gift from a family member, which is Grant to me is more like a he's like a son to me as well. I have a son, my son Christian, which I love. But Grant he's more of a little brother to me, to be totally honest, because we're not too close in age, but we're closer. Anyway, it's not important. Maybe it's a little important, but anyway, from him, and then also his wife Sarah, and then they have it autographed by Jerry Conway, and to talk to him about this book and what the Punisher meant to him and his other characters he's created and stuff, or co-created. I want to make sure I point that out because he pointed that out to me as well. And then also to be one of the Grails, the Punisher first appearance. There's no question whether this is the first appearance Punisher. It's iconic cover. He's right there. He's in the book. There's no cameo before.
Nope.
This is it.
This is it.
This is the book, and they've swiped this cover many a times, just like they do with the other Hulk 181s and all that stuff. So anyway, that's my number one book in my collection. Really, it's kind of a toss up between the two. 181 and this one, but like this one checks just one more box off that list because it has my the autograph and stuff like that. Maybe Roy Thomas or whatnot. Maybe if I get him the autograph, my 181, it might weigh a little heavy. I don't know. We'll have to find out.
Yeah.
But right now, this is gonna be my number one pick for round number one. Amazing Spider-Man with number 129, first appearance of Punisher, autographed by Jerry Conway. Go check out the interview we did with him on the channel. It's really good. He's a good guy. A lot of really good information. Legend in the industry, And Bob was talking to him too, I believe. He was there with us at the show. And just everything I wanted, that's it. Like I said, 4 of my grails I want in my personal collection. I have 3 of them. And they were all gifts. Mm-hmm. And so the only other one I'm looking for is Giant Size X-Men number 1. How's it going, Steve? Just kidding. Just kidding. Oh, God. Just kidding. Anyway, that's my round number one.
Can't beat that.
Not bad at all.
That's not bad at all. I mean, your 1, 2, and 3 are the 3 greatest grails inside of the modern age of comics. And, I mean...
And they're all gifts.
They're all gifts. That's amazing.
You know, both of us had multiple gifts that we're showing.
For sure.
And like you said, you know, the community just reaches out and does some amazing things.
Blown away by the community.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, half my collection I'm keeping right now is literally gifts.
Right.
From people. That's why it's still in my collection, is because they are gifts, you know. And like even this book right here, this Wolverine #1, that was a gift. This was almost on my top 10. I didn't know what to do with it, you know.
Yeah.
I kind of went back and forth, but literally more than half my collection right now is literally gifts that I'm keeping in my collection. So
Sure.
that's pretty awesome. So there you go. That's
it.
Week 3.
That's the wars.
Comic Book Wars. This was our top 10 books in our collection. This is our personal favorites ones that might be different for you guys. Which books did you like the best out of the collections? A lot of great books to choose from. There's a lot of nice stories behind them, but it really comes down to you guys. What books did you like the best? And kind of go from there. Make sure you vote every round, 10, 9, 8, 7, all the way down. You know, Bueller or Bob, whoever won. And then we'll add up all the points and we'll tell you who wins next week and be crowned the official Comic Book Wars champion. Is it going to be Bob? Is it going to be Bueller? Right now there's less than 2 full votes between us. That's it, you know, to be honest. So, I mean, it's anyone's ball game right now.
That's awesome.
It's anyone's ball game. So I'm very curious. Please vote. You guys did great last week. It was really easy to count up all the votes. Do the same thing this week. And next week we'll tell you exactly who won. Comic Book Wars Year 1. It was a lot of work.
Yeah, and it was hard for me to pick. I mean, I've gotten so many different books that people have sent to me in AOKs and gifts, and you know, I had to try to mix it up as much as I could. So this was tough to pick.
Yeah, I honestly was thinking about doing the honorable mentions list maybe next couple of weeks or whatnot, and not really a competition. Just in honorable mentions, we can each pick how many books we want. We'll just show them. You know, these are ones that wouldn't, because I have plenty of stuff.
Oh, I bet.
On honorable mentions, you know, like something like that, or you know, a few other ones, something like that. So maybe we should look at that.
Maybe we can
throw that in there. So there you go. Vote now. See who wins. Comic Book Wars, Bob or Bueller. All right, so we're going to move on to just some random thoughts that's brought to you by our patrons. We're just going to cover some random things. We got some books sent to us, and we're going to do a little show and tell from the publishers. Bob, why don't you go first, show them what you got there.
All right, not a problem. I don't know what this is, but these are books that came from Black Box Comics.
That's Gin Hunter.
This is Gin Hunter. Okay.
Yep, it's a variant.
It's a variant for Gin Hunter. Wow. Love that cover.
Yep.
And then this one is The Secret World of Modern Banking, IT. There we go.
Yeah, they're just sending us some random books.
Which is really cool. I love the covers on these. This is, what is that, Psycho House?
List.
Psycho List number 6. This is a really cool cover. There you go. I love the stuff coming out of Black Box. We got Gin Hunter. This is the first issue.
Yep. Careful there; those might fall. Might take them down there. Being careful.
And then we have issue number 3 of Gin Hunter.
There you go.
Very cool. And then, of course, my favorite book that Black Box comes out with is Shin no Kage, and they have their trade paperbacks coming out that you could get from their Kickstarter. And this is one of them. This is one of the covers that you could get. And then this one is the other one that also, and this reprints the first 3 issues. Yep. The new series is about to come out next week. Issue number 4. Can't wait to read the continuation of this story. I did get this issue out of the Kickstarter, and I'll be getting the special David Mack cover for issue number 4. Can't wait to get that. But yes, the Kickstarter, I think you can still get in on this. But the trade paperback, Shin no Kage, it's a great.
Which trade cover did you get?
I think I got both. I'm pretty sure I got both.
All right.
I'll check.
Okay.
But
If you only got one, let me know. You can have the other one.
appreciate it very much. Awesome.
Very cool. So thank you, Black Box Comics, for sending us some pretty cool books. We'll use some of that stuff for giveaways and stuff like that. You can go to their website, blackboxcomics.net, and enter the code Bueller10. You save 10%. We also got some books sent to us by Bird City Comics as well. I don't know the issues for these because they're versions, but these are all Department of Truth variants. You can probably get these on their website, birdcitycomics.com. There is Department of Truth, a virgin variant right there. Here is another one, Department of Truth. And another one, Department of Truth.
Those are great covers.
Yep, and this is the homage to American Beauty, I believe the movie was. And then the Department of Truth one right there. And then we're going to finish it off with Ice Cream Man. I don't know what number that is, but it's a David Mack exclusive cover right there.
Very cool.
Those are all brought to you by Bird City Comics. You can go to their website as well. And the code Bueller, save 10%. Thank you to them for sending us some books. I gave a few to Bob so he can be on there. Gets all excited and stuff like that.
I do.
I just want to take a minute to kind of just recognize some of our sponsors of the show, because we haven't been doing our regular segments. We just talked about Black Box Comics and Bird City Comics. We also have our Comics on Coffee. You guys all know we drink the coffee from them. You can order at their website, comicsoncoffee.com, enter the code Bueller to save 15%. You can also go to Scout Comics. We're also affiliated with them. You can enter the code Bueller, save 10% on all the merchandise, the mystery boxes that they sell, all the books, the comic tags, all that good stuff. I also want to tell you guys we're going to be working with Dynamite as well. We have an auction coming up next month with some with the owner or founder of Dynamite Comics. He's been selling some books, and I've already seen some pictures of these. They're not just Dynamite books. He's got collections he's looking to sell just of old comic books. Are just awesome. We're also going to be doing our next exclusive is through Dynamite as well. I don't know what the holdup is. It kind of seems like we kind of hit a snag. I was hoping to have more information for you guys by now, but there's really been very little in the last couple of weeks. I don't know what's going on there. But hopefully next week maybe I'll be able to update you guys and tell you exactly what's going on with that. We are going to be doing some work with Whatnot, which is that online app that you can like sell stuff and buy stuff from. What the collect. It's kind of like eBay but dedicated to collectors. I need to familiarize myself with it a little bit more. But it's gaining a lot of popularity right now and stuff. And they've reached out to me. I've talked to them. We're going to be working together and some really exciting stuff, to be totally honest, with Whatnot. I say that word all the time, so it's kind of a fit.
Right.
Or whatnot. So there you go. And also, I'm looking to do some more stuff with Second Sight Publishing. Maybe another exclusive with them. I was talking to them just last week about maybe doing something for Christmas. So
very cool.
Should be kind of nice. So I just wanted to give them a little bit of recognition. I'm also looking to do some more sponsorship deals with some places outside of the comic book industry with my travels that kind of reflect more with the bus and the traveling and stuff. There's a company called Jackery that does the little portable generators or battery banks. I've showed it before. I want to do stuff with them. There's also Renergy who does the solar panel system. I want to work with them. And also G-Force, which is a bike company that I just bought an electric bike from. I've been scooting around town with it, and I love the thing. And I want to do something incorporating comics with it and stuff. But the weather's changed here, and now it's raining every day. So it's just like, oh, God, it's a pain in the butt. So,
yeah.
But anyway, thank you to all our current sponsors that we're working with, and thank you to our future sponsors. And if you want to sponsor us, let us know or whatnot. We're always looking for more sponsors that have a good reputation. That goes a long way.
There we go.
So I also wanted to say really quick on the bus update, because I've had a few people say, hey, you need to make some more content about working on the bus. And honestly, watching a fat guy roll around on the ground trying to put planks on the ground is not the best content. There's a lot of crack involved.
I would beg to differ. There's some people out there who'd very much love to watch a fat man rolling around.
It's not, my nephew was helping me doing the floor, and he's just sliding on his belly. And he's about 200 pounds more than I am. He's just sliding on his belly. I'm like, man, nobody's wants to watch this. So it's not exactly the most entertaining content, but I'm getting to the point on the bus build where the the floor is done. The ceiling, we just finished with the ceiling, and now I'm going to be building like the furniture, like how I built this desk and stuff like that. So that's a little bit more entertaining to watch, and I'm hoping to incorporate that stuff on future videos. That would fit a video much better than just me sliding around and pulling my pants up and yelling curse words every now and then.
Right.
Stupid screws. But anyway, so look for more of that in the coming videos and stuff like that. As far as other random thoughts, man, you had anything? You watched any more shows this past weekend? Anything?
I watched the new Dune movie. That was amazing.
Really?
It really was. I've watched different iterations of Dune over the years. This is the first one that I can feel that the director has got it right.
Yeah.
The tone of it, it's epic. It's absolutely epic. And when I got to the end of it, I didn't want it to stop. I can't wait until they come out with the next one. But it's truly amazing. It's awesome.
I watched the first 5 minutes. I didn't like it.
Okay.
I give it a shot. I give it a 5 minute, and in 5 minutes, like,
All right.
there's a little too much work involved to watch this thing.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So, I mean, maybe I'll watch it in the future, but probably not.
All right.
I tried.
Yeah. Thank you for trying.
Yeah, all you can do is try, right?
That's right.
Anything else going on with you?
No.
No?
Right now.
No? You're just curious to see who wins the comic wars, huh?
Curious to see what did you comment?
God, you kicked my ass last week. I mean, I just sat there because he's not doing any of the polling. He's not adding up any of the number. He just comes over here, how'd I do? And I'm sitting there tallying this up, and I showed him the sheet with all these little marks on it. He just killed me, man. I was like, nobody liked my Liefeld book.
I think that's going to switch this week.
Nobody liked my Liefeld book. God, that thing got hammered.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man. Anyway, it's pretty good.
It'll switch this week.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty, because I won the first week, and then you won the second week, and then now week 3, we'll see who wins, man.
Yeah.
So it should be good comic wars.
Let's see what happens, man.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So make sure you vote. It's all about you guys voting and doing that, filling that out and stuff like that. And next week we'll tell you who wins.
Yes.
And who is the comic wars champion.
That'll be a lot of fun.
I think that's all we got, man. I don't got anything else. I'm tapped out.
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, some more coffee or something.
No, I think I just want to go lay down, man.
Okay, yeah, you can go lay down. All right, go ahead and take us out.
All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what to do. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.